Right now, President Trump is headed to the UAE. This is his final stop on his Middle East trip of Persian Gulf nations. Before boarding Air Force One, though, he spoke at the largest U.S. air base in the Middle East. Listen.
As president, my priority is to end conflicts, not start them, but I will never hesitate to wield American power if it's necessary to defend the United States of America or our partners. And this is one of our great partners right here.
And we'll have much more on the president's Middle East trip coming up in just a few moments. But we also want to bring you fresh developments out of Turkey this morning, where Ukraine and Russia could hold their first direct peace talks in 3 years. But it appears that Russian President Vladimir Putin will not be attending today's talks after Ukraine's leader Volodymyr Zelenskyy challenged him to meet face-to-face. Speaking earlier today, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, who was also in Turkey for a NATO foreign ministers meeting, reiterated the Trump administration's desire to see an end to the war in Ukraine.
The President of the United States has been abundantly clear he wants the war to end. He's open to virtually any mechanism that gets us to a just, enduring, and lasting peace, and that's what he wants to see.
CBS News foreign correspondent Imtiaz Tyab joins us now with more on this. Imtiaz, good morning to you. What's interesting is that, Russian and Ukrainian officials might in fact meet, but explain the landscape and the offer from Zelenskyy for a one-on-one with Putin, which did not materialize.
Hey, Errol, good to be with you. Well, these talks haven't formally begun, and I have to say it's really not going very well. We have Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelenskyy accusing Russia of sending what he described as stand-in props to the peace talks in Turkey, which of course, in Turkey's largest city, which of course is Istanbul, after Moscow confirmed, as we've been saying, President Vladimir Putin will not attend. Zelenskyy, who's in the Turkish capital, Ankara, had challenged Putin to meet with him face-to-face, saying he would only attend the talks if Putin was there. Now, in response to Zelenskyy's stand-in props comment, Russia's foreign ministry called Ukraine's president, and I'm quoting here, a clown and a loser. So, yeah, things aren't starting out very good here. As for President Trump, he says he may travel to Istanbul on Friday if talks make progress. And while expectations of any breakthrough of any kind are high, the fact that these two sides are talking at all is very significant.
Yeah, and it's a good point you make, Imtiaz, that President Trump did kind of leave the door open to perhaps his inclusion in any talks if Putin attends and if peace is on the table. What's interesting is yesterday one of our guests suggested President Zelenskyy's offer to meet Putin was actually posturing, since he was never really likely to accept. So what does all of this kind of missed opportunity, do to the Russian position that it's been insisting that it does eventually want peace?
Well, look, in terms of any real headline making breakthroughs, we're probably not going to see a whole lot. And again, President Trump making no secret of his desire to be seen as a global deal maker. Again, he's also saying that he's waiting to see, quote, serious movement before getting directly involved, despite already being in the region. Still, the U.S. remains heavily invested in all of this, not just diplomatically, but financially and strategically. And so American officials have made it clear they're hoping today's meeting might at least lay groundwork for de-escalation, and that is something they might see as some sort of a win. Errol.
All right, Imtiaz Tyab with all the latest for us. Imtiaz, thank you very much.